Charlotte Pascoe, you've come from Australia to learn from us Brits on what good estate agency looks like. You've been to some of the biggest firms in the UK, gone to some of their call centres, yet when we spoke earlier on, it transpires that you're actually teaching us some stuff and you've been genuinely surprised. What I'd like to talk about is the job roles of Australian agents and who does what versus what happens in the UK, and let's compare and contrast.
Okay, so if you take a salesperson, for example, they are a salesperson.
Okay, so what does that salesperson actually do?
They are responsible for prospecting. So they are on the phone 3 hours a day making calls. They're letterbox dropping about themselves, DL cards into letterboxes. They are out doing open for inspections. They are once they
Open for
convert it-
inspections are what? Open houses?
Yes.
So
Because
houses
during
they put on the market.
Yeah, during a sales campaign, our sales campaign goes for 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
So we will have an open every Saturday, and we will have 1 or 2 midweeks, which I think is quite different to what you do. You sort of have one.
No, we don't even
Maybe
have,
two.
no, don't have open houses. If someone wants to view a house, they just ring up and say, "Can I view at 12 o'clock on Wednesday?"
But we do that too.
Okay, fair goes then.
So here's an open home. Everyone come through if
No,
possible.
we don't do open homes because it's too much like hard work. Carry on.
Yes. So they will hold the open for inspection.
So their job is to
Prospect, list, negotiate, sell.
So a listing is the same phrase, but going to a house to basically pitch your wares as an estate agent. We will call that a free valuation or market appraisal. What would you call that?
Exactly the same, but they never cost anything. So I love this whole free thing. We do the same thing. Do you want a free appraisal? Well, of course it's free.
Yeah, but it's extra free in the UK.
Oh, it's extra free. Okay.
He did tell you that.
Yeah,
Didn't
you're right.
he? Yeah. And that's the salesperson's role to create.
Create the opportunity.
No,
Yes.
you do make me laugh, Oz.
Well, there's two things, right? So if somebody calls in, there might be a register. So it goes person A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. But
These are all
that's-
salespeople, are they?
Yeah, so that's company generated listings. But if you're just flying on the coattails of the company's not going to be overly happy with you. You have to generate your own. You have to put into the pool to be able to take out. So then the salesperson then has to.
Did you know 90 to 95% of free valuations in the UK are provided by the company and not the valuer?
Well, there's some opportunity for you.
It really comes down to what you do is this: you chuck marketing out saying, "Hire an agent, come and use us, we're brilliant," and hope the phone will ring. That is genuinely how the UK works in business prospecting. Does that shock you?
See, business prospecting, but there's the personal prospecting.
Well, no, forget the business. Okay, the business.
But we have both. You seem to have one. Business prospecting, and everything else floats in around that.
Well, most estate agents' marketing is worked on the premises. We are an estate agent. Mm-hmm. Okay, they work on two premises on their marketing, and it's either brand awareness marketing or competitive advantage marketing.
Okay.
Brand awareness, if we tell enough people about us, hire an agent, come and use us, we're brilliant. And we tell enough people about it, and I mean it, hire an estate agent, come and use us. I was on the tube yesterday, and Kinley Folkard Hayward, if that's the name, who are a pretty big agent in London, on a tube. I'm sure you've been on tube because you're in
Are they the red signs?
Yes.
I've been photographing those.
Okay. And it basically says valuation.
A noun.
So basically, it says valuation, and it said, and then it looked like a dictionary. So where someone who's thinking of selling a house invites an agent round and let's just see if they marry up. I mean, I'm sorry, if that was a dog, you'd put it down. Disgusting. I haven't even told you about the next type of marketing that most UK agents use, is the competitive advantage marketing. So. Actually, no, I haven't even told you about the worst one. If you are thinking of selling your house, ring us for a free valuation.
Oh, we have that in Australia too.
Yeah. Does that work? Not really.
No.
Okay. The competitive advantage marketing, an A5 flyer with the name of the agent across the top. Mm-hmm. And it basically says, We've been open since 2 BC. We open 8 days a week, and we basically have bullet points on telling you how good we are. And it's all about this is an award we've won. We've sold many this houses this month. We are this brilliant. We are this good. Our willies are this big, and we're marvelous. And look how wonderful we are.
And this benefits you because?
Because if we tell enough people how wonderful we are,
But everything has to come back to, and this benefits you because. It's a basic sales script, and the marketing should be in alignment with that.
oh no, it's all. This is who we are, and this is how brilliant we are.
Okay.
Has that surprised you? It really is. It's like
If you'd
going to a
asked me on
party.
Monday, yes. We're now Friday,
Yes.
not so much.
You've seen the agents'
Yeah.
adverts. It really is. Look at us. We're brilliant. Come and use us.
Yeah.
And every advert has the word "we" in it. Not
See, I, me,
well.
but there's no you.
It's not. This is what we can do for you. I know it has a "we" in it, but you know what I mean.
No, absolutely. In all scripts and dialogues training that I've ever run or I've ever done, at the end of every close, so you do your trial closes and you go through and then you get to the end and you say, and this benefits you because. So the marketing should reflect that.
No.
So it's not actually about this. We've recently done a marketing.
Do you know what they do? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
You're gonna.
Go.
Okay. Okay, so we have Rightmove, which is the big portal. So you have REA, and Rightmove produces these reports, which tells you what your market share is, and it produces a pie graph. And the agents, so if they're number one agent, they might only have, normally to be the biggest agent in the town, you need about 6-7% of the market. And then the next agent will be 5.5, and the next one will be 5.3. So you've got this basically. So they have this. Look, I'll show you. They have this like leaflet. You'll love this. Okay, great big pie chart like that, and they'll say that's agent 2, that's agent 3, agent 4, and then there's like agent 26, and then they highlight this area here, saying we at 5% are the number one agent in the town. That. Tell you what, if you take that to Australia, you are just going to be you're going to be so cutting edge with your marketing. It's unbelievable. I'm sure.
See, our marketing,
That's amazing.
we've turned it on its head because we don't want it to be that sort of thing. It doesn't need to be all the time just listed, just sold. Those things are great to raise awareness.
Oh yeah, just put
However,
listings on because that's interesting. Yeah.
Except it's giving someone something. So we've done a whole stock down. They go benefiting the Bellarine, which is we're one of our. We've got a few offices down there, and it's all about go along, get a free coffee when you buy your breakfast, and take your stock down. They go stamp, and they'll do all of these things for you. It actually isn't asking for anything. It's just saying we're supporting our community, and as such, it's getting the community talking about us in a positive way. But it's not about real estate because no one likes real estate agents unless they need to make a real estate transaction, and then they're all open to it. But the rest of the time, they're pretty closed off to what we're doing.
Because it's interesting that you're getting involved with the community. You're getting involved with the 96% of people who aren't intending to sell in the next 6 to 12 months.
That's exactly right, because they'll know someone who does,
Of course, and
or they'll
trust is
have a positive
transferable.
experience, and they'll get to know you. So when it does come time, they actually know you personally. They pick up the phone and say, "Hey, how you going, Charlotte? I want to talk to you about making a real estate transaction, sale, rental, whatever it might be."
Okay, so come back to the original question. We said that, and we were going on. I'm trying to remember what the question was. Yes, it was all about the different brand. So you have a suite of what you call salespeople, what we would call listers or valuers. What you tend to find in the UK is for every one valuer, there might be 2 negotiators who are office-based, arranging viewings, taking feedback, and actually taking offers and negotiating.
Doesn't happen.
You see, I've always found it really strange that the best person who is probably the best negotiator in their office is the valuer, the person, as you call the salesperson, because they're the one that has to negotiate with the vendor to get the house on the market and get a decent fee. Yet we're leaving the negotiating up to Floss, who's, I say, with the utmost respect, a 22-year-old millennial. Nothing wrong with millennials. Don't be shot down on that one. But she or he has not got the life experiences to negotiate.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, the personal relationship in Australia is so important because if you're selling a property that's, let's say, worth £400,000, that's a huge asset. You want to trust, know, and like the person. And if you don't have the 3 of them, how are you going to get that extra couple of pounds or whatever it might be? So they engage you.
It's really interesting. I had, you might know him, a chap called Steve Carroll on the sofa a couple of
Brilliant
months
guy,
ago,
yes.
and he works for REA, which is the Right Move equivalent in Oz.
Yeah.
And he told me that he'd just recently sold his house in Rutland, in the middle of England, nice part of the world, you'd love it. And he said the boss came out and put his house on the market, but then disappeared. Never to be heard from again.
That's real estate suicide in Australia. You don't do it. It doesn't happen. And if it does, you're blacklisted.
So do these salespeople we call valuers have any form of admin support in the background?
Yeah, so they might have a PA in the office. There'll be a sales administrator, for example, who's in there, doing the paperwork, getting the properties live, following up the contracts and the Section 32. The whole process of a sale is different in terms of the contracts and the period of time and all that sort of stuff. So we've got the administration person. But at the end of the day, if I've created a relationship with you and I'm going to look after you from the very beginning, I'm going to help you the whole way through to the point of redirecting your mail.
I think, by the sounds of it, is that in the UK, there tends to be a lot more negotiators and not so many valuers, or as you would call salespeople. Whilst in the Australia, it's turned completely on its head, and just about everyone is you call a salesperson, we'd call a valuer lister, with a little bit of admin support, and each valuer is responsible from start to finish of arranging their own viewings, doing the view. I bet you do all the viewings yourself, don't you? Well,
the admin person might help with the arranging of the viewings, but their thing is to go back one step from there to prospect.
Is it all accompanied?
Find the lead.
Is it all accompanied viewings?
Is it? Yeah, they go to all their opens.
Okay, what about if Mr. Smith wants to view it on a Wednesday at 2:00? Will the agent still go along?
Absolutely. If they want to see it at 2, 5 and 7, doesn't matter. Go and show that property and sell it.
20% of viewings in the UK are accompanied. 80% are just the owner the viewer just rocks up to the house and opens the door.
With what?
Well, just show around.
So who shows them around?
The vendor. And what happens is normally the vendor is not trained to sell and is very good at actually pointing all the bad parts out.
Well, we ask the vendor or the landlord to actually exit the property during the inspection because it's awkward.
Yeah.
We want to be able to sell the dream. So it's no. If I ever asked a client to show their own property, I would not have that listing anymore. When we do open for inspections, right, we get them to bake bread. We grind coffee. We put flowers out. We turn the lights on, open the blinds, make it look like it's a Christmas spirit. Doesn't matter what it is. Make that property as attractive because you know what? You're going to get a little bit more money and it's going to sell faster. So it's all about the add-on things. Flowers, coffee and bread. Bake some cakes. Put them out. People now have lollies and chocolates and treats and a glass of champagne if it's an executive property. Hi and welcome. It's a whole experience.